This isn't a fairy tale. It's a story that starts at a noisy train station and ends with a man who changed his identity, his future, and his life. All because of one simple lesson at a busy railway station. A poor beggar spent his days asking passengers for money. Trains came and went. People rushed past, but for him, every day was the same survival through begging. One afternoon, as he moved from carriage to carriage, he noticed a tall man in a sleek suit. The beggar's eyes lit up. "He looks rich. He thought he'll definitely give me something." He approached the man and stretched out his hand, but instead of money, the man asked a question. "Do you always ask for things? Do you ever give anything to anyone?" The beggar was caught off guard. "Sir, I'm just a beggar," he said. "What could I possibly give?" The tall man replied, "Then maybe you don't have the right to ask either. I'm a businessman. I believe in give and take. If you have something to offer, I'll give you something in return." He stepped onto the train, leaving the beggar stunned for hours. The beggar sat in silence. Those words echoed in his mind. Give and take if I give nothing. Why would anyone give me anything? But he was just a beggar. What could he offer? 2 days passed. No answer. Then on the third morning he noticed something, a bush of wildflowers growing near the tracks. A strange thought crossed his mind. What if I offer flowers to the people who give me money? He smiled for the first time in days. That afternoon he picked a handful of fresh flowers and boarded the train, and for every coin someone gave him, he handed them a flower. In return, people were surprised and delighted, and something magical happened. More. People started giving a lot more. His earnings doubled, then tripled day after day. He picked flowers and gave them away with a smile. People began to remember him not as a beggar, but as the man who gives flowers. But then, one day he saw him again. The tall man in the suit, he was sitting by the window on a train. This time, the beggar walked straight to him. "Sir, today I have something to give you." He said, "Would you like to buy some flowers?" The man smiled and gave him a few dollars. The beggar placed the flowers gently in his hand. "Amazing," said the man. "You've become a businessman just like me." Those words hit even deeper than before. As the train rolled away, the beggar stood on the platform. Eyes lifted to the sky and whispered to himself, "I'm not a beggar, I'm a businessman." 2 men in suits were riding the train. One looked at the other and said, "Do you remember me?" The second man shook his head. "I don't think so." The first smiled. "We've met before twice, actually. You just didn't know who I was." The second man was confused. Then the first said softly, "I was that beggar. The one you refused to give to, and then the one who gave you flowers." Shock washed over the man's face. "You're that guy. What happened to you?" "I changed my thinking." He said, "I stopped seeing myself as poor and started seeing myself as someone who could offer something. I became a flower seller, and today I own a flower business. You taught me something no one else ever did. The world works on exchange. You only receive when you give." At first, people weren't giving me charity. They were paying for what I offered, and I was too blind to see it that day. The man who once called himself a beggar stepped off the train as a successful businessman. This story is more than just inspiration. It's a blueprint. You don't need money to give something of value. You don't need power to make a difference. You only need one thing to start a shift in mindset. Success isn't about what you have, it's about what you believe you can offer. So ask yourself, what do you have to give? Because the moment you start giving, you stop being a beggar and you become a creator, a contributor, a success. If this story moved, you share it with someone who needs to hear it today. Like, subscribe, and tap the bell, so you don't miss the next story that could change your life. This is not just storytelling. This is life-changing wisdom, and it starts with you.